Good morning. We'll begin in about 1 minute. Welcome to this guided meditation. My name is Reverend Anne Ahokangas, and join me in the I Am as I speak this meditation in the first person, present tense, and positive, remembering there is only one thing going on here: life, spirit, the source of all. So take a deep breath now. Hold it for a moment and let it out. Take another deep breath in. Hold it for a moment and let it out. Close your eyes if that's comfortable and allow the whirling thoughts that may be going on in your mind to be set aside for a moment. And bring your focus to your heart center. And let's take a moment now, gently breathing, and imagine someone that you love in your mind's eye. And just see them looking at you and you looking at them. And feel the love that you feel within your heart, within your body, for this person. And allow this love to be your guide during this meditation. So today I choose to maintain a constant state of gratitude for everything in life, all my experiences, and especially today, this now moment. Allow the words that I speak to be the words of your own heart. I know that this life is the life of God expressing perfectly. I know the eternal nature of the divine is within all things and lives its life by means of that which it has created. Pure beauty is always being displayed, and every aspect of life is a demonstration of the same beauty that exists within all things. I am one with this beauty. Perfect unity is being expressed in and through me now. I take the time to align myself right now with knowing that the infinite Creator is what breathes me, is me in every way. And I feel and sense my connectivity to it. I know that life, spirit, is ageless and timeless. And I know that I am too. I am one with the life that is being expressed in its perfection by means of me. And each and every day, I have greater wisdom and greater clarity. And as I open up to this spirit that is who I am, I open up to love and compassion. I am capable of all that I am able to dream. Anything is possible for me through the spirit within me. I know that time is just time, neither against me or for me. And spirit as me supports me as I evolve and grow. My awareness continues to expand. I celebrate life in every way I know how. Today I choose to bring in the awareness of joy, happiness, giggling and laughing, for I know they are natural parts of who I am. And the more I am joyful, happy, and laughing, the more I open up to love and compassion. I bless the day of my birth, knowing that it is the most joyous day I have ever known. And every day from that day forward is a fabulous day. And every day adds to my joy and celebration of life. I take the time now to just breathe gently in, hold it for a moment, and let it out. And I recognize that so many times in life, it can be difficult to see the greater possibilities before me. But I know as I focus on the spirit within, all limitation and constriction are transformed into love and compassion and infinite possibilities. Something greater is always evolving. And I know that as I accept the greater possibilities, I experience a fuller life, and I accept all of life, even the paths of struggle. Because right here in this realization of God as the infinite presence, I also know that good exists. I know that God, everywhere present, is also within me. And this power knows, and this power provides. And I know that it expresses not only as me and through me, throughout all of eternity. And greater realities unfold as I open up to this all-loving nature of the divine. I know that life, creation, is whole, perfect, and complete, and that everything is an endless demonstration of infinite good. I am one with this infinite good. I am the perfect expression of that good now. Every cell of my being is God being. Every idea in my mind is an activity that is taking place through the one infinite mind of endless possibilities. Everything good in my life is the demonstration of that one life, one spirit. I realize that what I focus on grows. So I focus on that which I desire, seeing it and feeling it now as though it is already manifest. For I realize that the only thing that stands between me and greater possibilities are my thoughts. I now surrender anything that pretends to express itself as the only possibility in my life. I know that there is an endless amount of potential and possibility within me, and I call that forth now. I see it demonstrating and being revealed in the most useful and helpful ways for me and everyone around me. I honor life by accepting greater possibilities for myself and anyone that I perceive is limited in their expression. As I know this for myself and everyone else, it expands into a greater revelation of the presence of God within me. I see it and I feel it. All I need to do is take the first step. For I know that God, Spirit within me, has already paved the way for everything I desire to demonstrate. I accept this as the truth, and I am now set free by it. I am the expression of greater possibilities. I feel a deep gratitude as my life unfolds in the most beautiful ways. And my heart pours out its gratitude, blessing myself and everyone else. I release all these thoughts into the law of mind action, knowing that my word always returns to me fulfilled. I feel the joy, the love, the peace, and the compassion that are who I truly am. Life responds to me in kind, and so as I am joyful, I receive more joy. As I am compassionate, compassion fills my soul. Life demonstrates according to what I place into it, and that brings me great joy. It is done. Please join with me in affirming, and so it is. Gently bring your awareness back to the room, back to the chair that you're sitting on, back to this time and place, and know that you have performed a definitive act in spirit, in mind, and infinite possibilities are yours. Have a blessed day.
lighten up, don't take yourself serious. Lighten up, don't take yourself. Oh, lighten up, whoa, lighten up, don't take yourself so serious. Come on now, lighten up, whoa, lighten up, don't take yourself so serious. Whoa, 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 whoa. I don't see how it could be any fun walking around like you're some kind of number one. Everybody asking your name, trying to figure out the rules of your game. Well, as for me, I like to lay low. I like to watch the birds outside my window. You look like you come a long, long way. But if you're looking to be happy, all I've got to say is lighten up. Whoa, lighten up. Don't take yourself so serious. Come on now, lighten up. Whoa, lighten up. Don't take yourself so serious. Whoa, whoa, whoa. When I think of all the time I wasted, it makes me want to turn the clocks back so I can change. But now I know the past is gone, and there's nothing left to do right now but sing this silly song. So come on now, lighten up. Whoa, lighten up. Don't take yourself so serious. Come on now, lighten up. Whoa, lighten up. Don't take yourself so serious. Lighten up. Whoa, lighten up. Don't take yourself so serious. Come on now, lighten up. Whoa, lighten up. Don't take yourself so
Good morning, everybody. And welcome to Unity Spiritual Center of Hamilton. Welcome to everyone here in the sanctuary, to our online, those of you who watch us online every Sunday, and just checking to see if there's anyone new here. Yes. So welcome to our sanctuary, and at the end of the service, do come see me. We always have a gift for you. So 10% of everything we receive goes out to bless our community, and we are blessing New Hope Community Bikes as well as Unity Canada. So we are in a new month. If you notice, the color has changed, and the power of the month is will. So this is one of the 12 powers of Charles Fillmore. The color, of course, is silver. And let's say the affirmation together. I use my will for making life-affirming choices. I choose my good based on spiritual understanding. I can choose, lead, and decide. I am will. And we begin with an Eddie Watkins Jr. creation. We come together, and it will be sung for us by Emilio Zaris.
Thanks, Mark.
Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves you and I love you too. Now feel the love and sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Now look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Now lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. From every walk of life, every creed and color, they should reunite. Oh, in honor of the God in each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, Namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love.
Good morning, I'm Reverend Ann Ahokangas, and join me in this affirmative prayer. I always speak it in the first person present tense and positive, because I remember that God is all there is, and now is all there is, and positive is what I would choose to experience. So as I close my eyes and I breathe and relax, I remember that I am one with all that is, that the source of all life is right where I am in any given moment. And yet it is also everything that I see around me and experience. And so I breathe into this knowing, recognizing that everything is good in some way, even if I don't always understand it. And so with a grateful heart, I see the world through these eyes of not rose-colored glasses, but God glasses, and recognize that it's all good and it's all God. I let go and I let it be so. Please join with me in affirming, and so it is. Because a world that works for everyone starts there.
I love this. We are creating a world that works for everyone. Yes, we're amazing, and we've just begun to feel the power and freedom to be who we came here to be, as and celebrate humanity. We are creating a world that works for everyone. Yes, times are changing. It's all a revolution as we are walking together. Love is leading the way through the fields of compassion to a world that works for everyone. To a world that works for everyone. As we are walking together, love is leading the way through the fields of compassion to a world that works for everyone. To a world that works for everyone.
The absolute word for today is humankind. And the affirmation, I am divine. I honor and celebrate humankind. I honor and celebrate the myriad uniqueness of humankind. Each and every person is underwritten by their divinity. I affirm and claim that all people everywhere find the freedom to live life knowing who they are and their divine identity. Learning about people far and wide, I immerse myself in the wholeness of life as I nurture inclusiveness. I honor individual practices, languages, and heritages. I listen and learn from the life stories and experiences of others, expanding my awareness and my ability to be compassionate. Mentoring is an important role that I and others can fill.
You turn the news on, you get your blues on from all the negativity. It's hard to wrap yourself around what's going down on TV. You can stress it, second guess it. You can think about it way too hard. Or you can move the conversation from your head to your heart. Sometimes it's a matter of just letting go and holding on to the one thing we know. Love wins, love wins. That's where the circle of life begins. It's the one simple lesson we'll learn it again and again. Love wins. We all matter. It doesn't matter if we're on one side or the other, as long as we find a way to get along with one another. We can agree to disagree, or maybe even realize to see another point of view when you look in someone else's eyes. Sometimes it's a matter of just letting go and holding on to the one thing we know. where the circle of life begins. It's the one simple lesson we're learning again and again. Love wins, that's where it all begins. Love wins, we learn it again and again. Love wins, that's where it all begins. Love wins, we learn it again and again. Love wins, that's where it all begins. Love wins, we learn it again and again. Love wins, that's where it all begins. Love wins, we learn it again and again. Love wins.
Nice song. So the month of August, we're stepping beyond the status quo and stepping into the beyond. And what I mean by that is, we're doing a pretty good job on our spiritual journey, wouldn't you say? Becoming more and more aware, at times at least, of how we're creating our own life, what our thoughts are, how can we be more welcoming. So I'd like to look a little deeper at some of the things that we just do automatically without questioning them, or without noticing that maybe there's another way to do it. And so this whole month, we'll explore different areas of our lives and how we might do it differently. So the book this month that is the inspiration is Spiritual Bypassing. Anyone heard of that term? When spirituality disconnects us from what really matters. And today's topic is the impact of othering. And it was really funny, my administrator here, our administrator here, Brenda, is always doing editing too, because I'll make typos and things. And she saw the word othering, and she just kind of read through it quickly and thought, she sent me an email and said, did you make a mistake with that word? And then when she read through the document that went into the newsletter, she recognized that, oh, there's a word there. So we had a conversation actually this week about what othering is. So have you ever done spiritual bypassing?
In the beginning.
In the beginning, yeah, even to ourselves, sometimes like, well, I should know better because I've been on this journey for this long. That in itself is spiritual bypassing. It's to say that, somehow I should, and then shoulding on ourselves. So let's look at what this thing called othering actually is. So Ernest Holmes says that God is life, not some life, but all of life. And God is action, not some action, but all action. God is power, not some power, but all power. God is presence, not some presence, but all presence. And God is pure spirit, filling all space. Now, if you have energy around the word God, find another word for it, whatever works. Because it's not meant to be dogmatic. It's a word to just describe this thing that animates us, but is also all of life. So, if you're comfortable with it, great. It took me many years to be comfortable with that word. And it was because I attached the big dude in the sky with a big G on his chest that was, going to strike me down if I didn't do things a certain way. And so I just figured I'd ignore him because I didn't like him. And now I've recognized that it is right where I am, and I could never have escaped anyways. So what is othering is what we're going to look at, and why and how do we other, and oneness as wholeness. So othering is a process in which individuals or groups are viewed, treated, or perceived as basically different, separate, or unfamiliar from oneself or one's own group. So any time that you perceive or someone perceives you as being separate or different, you're othering somebody. And what I'd like you to consider is that when you're othering, you're not connecting with the spirit within you and within all of life. And so you're not getting the opportunity to get the fullness that you could when you're othering. So I'd like to look at that a little bit more deeply. And like some of you know, whenever I'm talking about something particular every week, I have personal experiences of it so that I have stories to tell you. And sometimes I have to wait several weeks to tell you the story because they're so sensitive. And other times I'm ready to speak about them. So I'll see at what point I'm ready to speak about the experiences I had this week. So othering, it involves an us versus them dichotomy, establishing a sense of superiority or inferiority based on perceived differences. The act of othering often stems from the human tendency to categorize and try to make sense of the world. Now, when you look at it in that way, like that makes sense. I mean, we're given this natural ability to judge so that we can be safe, ultimately, at the very core of it. But I think the othering has, especially in our society in North America, has become, even othering if people aren't wearing the right kind of clothes, right? That somehow they're different or less than or more than or whatever. I mean, I know when I was in my 20s, if somebody was wearing designer clothes, I othered them because I couldn't afford them. They were separate from me in some way. So it's a completely natural part of being human, and therefore it's important to not make ourselves or our community wrong for doing it, because it is a natural part of it. But how can we be more welcoming and open to others by not othering, noticing when we're othering? Let's recognize the impact it has here, even at our center, and life, and choose to neutralize our human tendency towards othering. So, okay, why and how do we other? That's what I'd like to talk about now. So some of you know that I had some family from Europe come, and they often travel with one family member that is like a teenager. So they have an opportunity to experience Canada or Europe, wherever they're going. And so my son and his wife and daughter brought a niece with them. And my son spoke Finnish from the time he was a little kid, but he learned it from me, who only speaks to the level of a 4-year-old. Like, my vocabulary is very limited. And so he learned Finnish and eventually went to university in Finnish and got a master's degree in Finnish, taking hotelier and restaurateur degree. So his Finnish is really good, but he has an accent because, I had an accent. And somehow you don't know that you do, but, we accept people when they have accents, though sometimes if it's a helpline, it can be difficult because we don't always understand what they're saying, and that can be challenging. But what happened this week was I wrote a book about Freya, my granddaughter, Freya the dragon. And I wanted it translated into Finnish, and I also wanted it to be read in Finnish so that I could put it on our YouTube channel. And so my son and daughter-in-law said, would you please use Google Translate and translate it, and then what we would do is correct the language and correct the grammar. And so they did that while they were here. And then I asked Ben, my son, to read it because I like his voice. His voice is similar to mine. It's a very gentle, soft voice, and his wife's voice is lovely, but it's high-pitched and a little screechy, and it wasn't what I wanted for the book. Though she was wondering why I wouldn't choose someone who spoke Finnish better to read it. So after I had done it and they listened to the recording, my daughter-in-law was laughing her head off, saying, oh, you sound so ridiculous and everything else. And I said, hey, stop it. I said, have you ever listened to you speaking English? I said, what are you doing? Why are you humiliating him or getting humor at the expense of him? You're othering. And she was. And the next day, the young lady, the 12-year-old that was traveling with them, also started to other him in the same way. Now, she wasn't witness to me correcting my daughter-in-law, but she started in Finnish because she was really afraid to speak English because she doesn't speak well. So she said it in Finnish, and I didn't quite understand, but Ben had this look on his face, how she was making fun of how he sounded. And I asked him, what did she say? Oh, she's making fun of my ability to speak Finnish. And I looked at her in my really poor Finnish and said it in my 400 words or whatever I have, that, you know, that's not very nice. If you can't be kind, if it's not true, and if it's not necessary, keep your mouth shut. And you wouldn't want people to treat you that way. And, you know, this poor kid is like curling into a tiny little tight ball going like, oh my God, I never expected this from this woman. But I thought, you know what? There are very few things in my life where I will stand up and say, hey, stop it, because that's not right. And especially a 12-year-old, you've got lots of opportunity to learn here, and this was a learning experience. But I felt really yucky afterwards because I hate to do that. I hate to correct people. But she was othering, and it was really important for me to have her recognize that, you know, her fear of not speaking was exactly what she was doing to someone else. And so how often have you found that maybe you're othering? I mean, I had someone say to me, it was in this last year, I think, where the conversation started with, well, I have a friend who looks like you, she's big. That was othering. Now, she thought she was kind of befriending me and kind of creating a connection, like, look, I have friends that look like you, so, you know, you must be okay. I know that that's what she meant, but it's not how I felt the first moment when she said it. It was like she created separation. So are we doing things thinking we're being nice, but we're actually othering? And how am I doing it? And it's interesting, all week long, I noticed myself wanting to kibitz and make funny little comments, humor at someone else's expense, and recognized I was trying to other. And I'd bite my tongue. So just something to think about, because it is something that, I don't know, if you agree with someone, like let's say you and I decide we're going to kibitz with each other and we're going to have humor that kind of pokes our buttons, but we do it because we've agreed to do it, then that's a different story. But even that, there's a fine line there where you can go too far. Just trying to better your othering, right? So something to think about. So racism, of course, is an extreme form of othering. I take full responsibility for my thoughts, speech, and actions, is what I say when I remember that that's going on. And there's a lot of people out there still that blame the world for how they think and how they behave. And so part of our responsibility, I think, is to point out that you have a choice on how you behave, what you say, and what you do. And it's not enough to not be racist. I choose actively to be anti-racist. And so speaking up with that othering this week was actively choosing not to other. And meditation, notice your reaction. So I'm going to guide you through this. Notice your reaction, thoughts, and feelings when you hear these statements. Not all may be true for you, but be open despite of any discomfort or defensiveness. So I'd invite you to close your eyes at this moment, and for about 3 or 4 minutes, I'll just say some statements and see what comes to mind, whether it's experiences you've had yourself, or it's the truth for you, or you didn't realize this. So people who look like me are overrepresented in workplaces, positions of power, politics, media, toys, and more. I can dine out, shop, and travel without fear of being followed, harassed, or killed. When my children, or children who look like me, play or even act out, they are not seen as a threat or criminals. I realize I have certain privileges because of the way I look. I did not earn these privileges, yet I subconsciously benefit from them. I realize I have certain privileges because I am considered a model minority. I acknowledge my blind spots contributing to systemic racism and othering. I am thankful to unlearn old ways. I have clutched my bag or my wallet, crossed the street, or been afraid. I have assumed someone is less intelligent or less financially successful. I have doubted or dismissed their experiences with discrimination. I have said I don't see color. Racism is a thing of the past. So open your eyes. Any surprises? Wendy.
I don't know if it's a surprise, but it took George Floyd's murder for me to finally get what Black Lives Matter was about. Like,
George Floyd's murder had you understand what Black Lives Matter means. Yeah.
Before that, I felt I wasn't a racist, but really, I didn't recognize my privilege at all.
Okay, so Wendy was saying she didn't recognize her privilege until that happened. I'll share something about Marcia. Marcia comes from a country where racism isn't the scenario so much. When she was growing up. And Marcia has dark skin. And I assumed when I met Marcia that she had experienced racism like most dark-skinned people that I had met. And so I was kind of othering you, and I didn't realize that I was.
I didn't know you were.
Yeah, and I didn't know that I was either until I had the bias of recognizing that I made assumptions, and that's sort of what othering is, isn't it? When we make assumptions. And how can we change that? Another story about my son. So for those of you that have met him, he's a big dude. He usually wears his hair in a mohawk of some form, but not standing up on end. And it was bright orange when he first moved to Finland. And it was bright orange because his girlfriend, who now is his wife, colored it orange. Now, her parents had never met him. And at that point, he had poor Finnish, as in, the 4-year-old, and he was about to learn to be a better speaker. But his parents basically thought, who the heck did she bring home? What the heck is this? And yet, she did most of how he looked to him. And he remembers what a struggle it was to just maintain his composure with them, because there was this level of underlying hostility, and that he was stupid and all of these things that they had no idea who he was. And so it's interesting. Yeah, we have biases, and thank you, Marcia, for letting me share that, because it was a surprise for me. I know that I really do try to be as open as I can, but there are times. So I look forward to the day when we can not have to notice any of that, but just notice the soul, the person, the spirit when you look in someone's eyes, and that none of the other stuff matters. Whatever you've done, how old you are, how disabled or abled, or what color, or what you're wearing, or how you smell, or like any of that, that all of that can just be irrelevant. I certainly see the world that way one day, and attempt to see it myself today. So I invite you to think about that. So that phrase, I don't see color, implies that one does not acknowledge the differences and challenges that people of color face. Did you ever think about that? So when someone says, I don't see color, they're, like what Wendy said, they're not truly acknowledging the fact that there are different experiences for people depending on how they look, whether it be disability or size or color. And it also suggests that one does not recognize their own racial identity and privilege. And the phrase is often used with good intentions, but it can be harmful and dismissive. So I've heard racial jokes or slurs and stayed quiet. I don't anymore. And all or most of my friends look like me. That used to be the case, but I also grew up in Sudbury. And Sudbury did not have, they had like one Chinese family and they ran the Chinese restaurant. And they had one black family and I saw them rarely. And so, you know, there were a lot of French Canadian and Italian people, but they all sort of looked like me. So, did you grow up like that? Or did you have diversity? No, it's fascinating, isn't it?
One black family in Sudbury, they live next to us.
Okay. Yeah, I know, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I remember a girl in my class, I was in grade 5, and she was from Jamaica, so she wasn't totally black, but she had lots of black freckles. So she was kind of like half and half, and she was like my greatest friend. And I didn't understand why other people stayed away from her, but they didn't understand her because she looked different. How about this statement? I have rarely been the only person of my skin color at work or at school. You know where I felt foreign? Hong Kong and Singapore. More Singapore, actually. I was a head and a half taller than everybody walking on the street, and I had a smile on my face, and none of them did. So, you know, even though we may have looked sort of the same, I felt like a foreigner. It was one of those rare opportunities that I got to feel different. I've never been asked things like, how do your people feel about this? Jean, who has passed, said to me that she had a lot of workers come and help her, and some of them didn't speak English really well. And she would say to them, oh, where are you from? Which is similar to, how do your people feel about this? And we had a great conversation about the fact that she was kind of othering, even though she didn't, with good intentions, didn't realize that she was. No one makes microaggressions towards me like, you speak well, or can I touch your hair? Or where is your family from? For those of you that have ever been pregnant, people think they can just touch your stomach. You know, so there's stuff like that that we do that we don't recognize. We're going beyond the boundaries, eh? So what are some moments when you committed microaggressions? Do you understand why these types of statements and actions are harmful or hurtful? What might be a microaggression? Even just wanting to hug somebody. That can be like, whoa, that's too much. And when I first started at Unity, that was one of the things they encouraged. When you first started, everybody was to greet and meet and hug, and people still wore perfume, so you were wearing their perfume for the rest of the day. And it was really uncomfortable for me. And I remember a young lady when I was working in Winnipeg who said, when she first came, we'd do a monthly circle where everybody would meet and we'd talk about how we could improve our community. And she said, could we stop hugging, please? Because I'm okay hugging maybe at the end of the service when I've gotten to know a few people, but not at the beginning when I don't know anybody. And so we stopped hugging. So what racist or othering thoughts, words, or actions have you had because of the way someone looks? Commented on their looks, crossed the street, clutched your bag, assumed someone lived in an unsafe area, assumed someone is uneducated. Yeah, I guess I gave you a few good examples of that. So have you ever witnessed someone make a racist or othering joke or comment and not said anything? I did this week. I don't like to have to point things out, but boy, it was so important. And it was interesting. this young lady, being 12, hadn't really been taught well by her parents to say thank you or to say hello and that kind of thing. And so even when they were leaving and they were at the airport, she was busy on her phone, and I kind of yelled, because there's a lot of traffic there and it's loud, saying, "Bye, Mariana." And she looks up and goes, "Bye," back down to her phone. And my son sent a text when he got to Finland, and the parents picked her up and said she didn't say thank you or goodbye to us either when she left, and didn't even recognize that it was such a privilege to stay in someone else's homes and travel with someone and all of those things. And so I think we're all responsible for teaching each of us how to be better. And that was a teachable moment. So reflect on the phrase, silence is violence. Have you ever made a racist othering comment or joke? Yeah, we need to speak up at the right times, even if it feels yucky. Because that person is part of this, all that is us. It's like having a sliver in our foot, and it's to deal with it. So do you choose experiences that expose you to other cultures, religions, sexualities, and ethnicities? I think one of the most fun things I did, I had a gay man working for me when I was 21, and he was a wild, happy, big mustache that went out from ear to ear, and just was a crazy guy. And he said to me, "Well, when we go to the hair show in Toronto, I'm going to take you to a gay bar." And I had never been to a gay bar, and I had never seen that many of the same-sex individuals dancing and hugging and doing all of this stuff. And it was just a blast. And I was so grateful that I had the opportunity to have that exposure, because I had never seen it anywhere. And when he was working and living in Sudbury with me, they could only have their parties in a little village outside of town, far away, and at a home that was on a lake where nobody knew where they were, because it wasn't accepted in Sudbury. So, you know, we've come a long way with some things, and we've got a long way to go with other things. So are you aware of your biases when interacting, mentoring, or collaborating with others? Maybe a little more now. At the heart, racism and othering are rooted in fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of being wrong, fear of being out of control, and fear of those who are different from us. And truly, if they are part of us, what is there to be afraid of? Now, sure, people have bad behavior, but at the core, everybody is good and everybody has love. And I think if we walk the world that way, it shows up more for us that way. Now, maybe I'm being a little naive, but yeah, Wendy?
There's an interesting comment from one of the online people.
Yes.
The person says, as a former police officer, I can tell you we are trained not to touch people and not to let strangers touch us. It is very nerve-wracking to be hugged by strangers because of that training and learning.
So a former police officer was saying that it's really, they were taught not to touch and not to have others touch them. And to unlearn that, being in society, not as a police officer, is a really difficult thing. Yeah, it would be. Because you're seeing through the lens of this is the way that it used to be. So what is othering? How and why do we other? We looked at those. So what about oneness as wholeness? So when we talk about otherness, it's important to remember that we are all other to someone. And diversity is to be welcomed. And the more you know about another story, the less fearsome and more human that person becomes. I know when we were learning to do talking circles, it was one of the things that they required. If a circle was to take an hour, then 1/3 of that time was meant to get to know each other first. Because how else can you have a really good dialogue with someone unless you understand them? And so for 20 minutes of that 60, we would go around and share something about ourselves. And boy, it's really, really wonderful how you can just become so much more open when you do that. So think about that when you meet someone for the first time. Maybe share something about yourself or ask for them to share something about them to open you up a bit more. And the better you understand your own story and experiences with otherness and try to learn from them is the key to joy. Because when you're not afraid, then joy has the opportunity to show up. And it gives you a chance to lean into the best of your stories and go beyond the worst. So you can choose to stop making unconscious assumptions about the other, at people who we perceive as not our tribe. It can be challenging. Talk to them. Learn who they are. I love this picture where the girl is standing in the window and the reflection is an angel. And remember what you learn when you ask people questions and how it makes you feel. And it helps you to understand who you are too. You know, you open to a larger truth when you start to become aware of how you're othering. That I have a lot to learn, and they can help me learn it. All I need to do is ask. So how about make this a week of asking? Not only how are you, but you know what I used to say as a hairdresser, and I did that for quite a long time, was tell me something about you that I don't know. I wouldn't say, how are you? Because usually people just say, fine. But if I say, tell me something I don't know about you, could start a really amazing conversation. And it's interesting, when I started with those kind of things, most of them never learned anything about me, but I knew everything about them. Because they weren't there for me, they were there for them. So, what do you think about this idea of othering? Has it opened your eyes a little bit to how you might connect with spirit more? Because really, that's why we're here, isn't it? You know, maybe it's not that you want to know God more, but you want to feel better in life. And to feel better in life is to get rid of all of the ways that your thinking might be skewing your opportunity to enjoy life more. So, would you say this with me? I easily identify and change my unconscious biases and open to true oneness, embodying the truth of my being. Because we're saying yes to a little more love.
Everybody's got a little something, only something you can bring. It's a puzzle, put it all together. Need every piece to make it complete, yeah. Every note to make a symphony. All the voices singing harmony. All the colors of the rainbow shining. Everyone, everyone. Say yes. Say yes. Say yes. Say yes. Say yes. Say yes. To a world with a little more love. Never feel you're insignificant, like a tiny little grain of sand. What you do, what you say makes a difference. Go ahead and reach out your hand, open the door, say hello. Stranger today, you might get to know them. Little love can keep on growing, change your life without even knowing. Say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes. It's everyone, everyone, everyone. To make the world with a little more love. Little more love, oh yeah. It doesn't matter where you come from, gender or race, spiritual beliefs or orientation. Everyone has got the same motivation. Love is love, the same situation. Give love and help one another. In this world, there's only each other. One blood, the human race. Yeah, 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 yeah.
very appropriate song for our talk today. And what was your takeaway? Silence is violence. Okay, so if you don't have any that you want to share, I'll share mine. Yes, go ahead.
It's something that I have done. I have asked somebody where they're from, quite often actually, because they have a different accent, they are a different color, whatever. I didn't obviously speak that question with intent to other them.
Mhm.
I spent it out of said it out of genuine curiosity. So I would assume that it depends on your intent
Mhm.
as well.
That's for sure. And so the question is, sorry, the sharing is asking where someone is from without an intention that is anything other than curious. Did I get that right? I can speak to that. I have no problems with somebody asking me where I'm from because I know I don't think I have a Canadian accent. I look different. I may act different. So I'm pretty open to that question. But I met someone about 3 months ago who says she's a sixth generation Canadian, family coming from Nova Scotia. And they've been in the Brantford area for a very long time. And she has had to go through where are you from? I'm Canadian. No, where are you from? And that really makes a very uncomfortable encounter with her because she's repeating over and over and over, I am from Canada. My family was born in Canada. Going back generations, we were all Canadians. And because she looks like me, she has to spend all that time explaining it. So it was the first time I had heard that. But if I looked at her, I might have mistaken her for a West Indian. So there again, I would be othering. And I never knew that other could be used as a verb. Yeah, so tapping into my takeaway would be to take full responsibility for your thoughts, your speech, and your actions. When I shared, and Reverend Ann and I were at the conference in Kansas City. It's probably 3 years now. Yeah, when I was growing up, it was a very different environment to what it is now. I think, without getting into the deep politics, people have started to look at each other as other. So that blissful, I put it in inverted commas, way that I grew up in Guyana, just accepting everyone and seeing things around me that showed that people were competent no matter how they looked. I took that for granted. And I really haven't had hard stories in my life. I don't have hard stories about people not accepting me for who I am. So I can look out and recognize, but for some reason it doesn't come back to me. One of the things I do recognize, however, is when someone says to me, you speak so well, or you are articulate. There is an underlying ignorance, I say that word very nicely, that we are educated. And our parents, at least I speak for my family placed a lot of emphasis on education. So before I went to school, I was reading because there were books everywhere. I cannot say there was a lack of books. And my father was a reader. I so appreciate men who read. So he was always pumping information into us and sharing things. And I kind of do that now. Sometimes I have to hold back a little. But yeah, so the emphasis I know in the Caribbean is a lot of families place on education. Even if the older generation weren't educated, they really make sure that the younger generation is. So it's sort of like telling someone, you're wearing pants and you're a gentleman. It's obvious. We speak well. We are educated. And my last thing I'm taking away from me today is racism and othering is rooted in fear, for sure. So that question that you asked, tell me something I don't know about you, would really help to dissipate the fear that others may have. So profound. Thank you. Yes. And, move to our conscious giving, practicing the law of circulation, which can show up in many forms: financial giving and receiving, asking and forgiving, or blessing and praising. So for those of you online, if you'd like to contribute, you may do so via e-transfer to admin@unityspiritualcenter.com, or on the website there's a donate button. So let's, in receiving that which we are about to, that's coming into us, let's place our hand and heart and say together, divine love that I am, blesses all I give and all I receive.
I don't know. And the pressure's on. It's true. One power. There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth. As simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baula, angel's wings, or heaven's door. Well, whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, oh, one power, one power. We speak so many languages, have different clothing, different colors, different names. But different is only dangerous when we forget that in our hearts we're all the same. And we'll remember when we close our eyes to see that such distances were never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baula, Hashem, or heaven's door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul, or it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth or Father Time. Well, whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, oh, one power, one power, one power, one power, one power. It's the moment of creation. It's an everlasting peace. It's the freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration. It's the sunshine on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. It's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of a baby, the serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon For it's love that's most deep. It's one power, one power. What we are is one power. It's the power of the love that lives forever in you and me. It's the power of the love in you and me. One power.
Stunning. Know that we're here to pray with you. So if you do have something on your mind or something on your heart or something you're concerned about, know that I can hold the truth for you, and know that everything is always working out somehow, some way. Send us a prayer request if you want. Put it in our prayer box here or send it to prayer@unityspiritualcenter.com. And won't you say this prayer of protection with me, please? The light of God surrounds you. I am the light. The love of God enfolds you. I am the love. The power of God protects you. I am the power. The presence of God watches over you. I am the presence. Wherever you are, God is. Wherever I am, God is. And all is well. And how about before we sing Room at the Table, it's birthday Sunday. And Emilio's birthday was yesterday. Can we tell people how young you are?
Yes, of course.
He's 60. Isn't he young?
Yes, I'm young and in denial. No, it's all good. It's all good. I am 60. I'm 60. 60. I can't believe it either. 64. 64. 64. I can't believe it. 64. Anyway, let's enjoy our lives, whatever age we are. Yes, and I feel so blessed. I love you all. Thank you for the birthday wishes and all the love. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. To all. Oh, and Joan. Who else's birthday is anybody? Randy? Anybody else? August birthdays? Here. Oh, hey! Oh, online? Okay, we love you. And here we go. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Everyone born in the month of August, especially me. No. Happy birthday to you. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you. You are wonderful. God is blessing you now. I wasn't going to go out there. All right. Here we go. Room at the Table by Carrie Newcomb. Let our hearts not be hard to those living on the margins. There is room at the table for everyone. This is where it all begins. This is how we gather in. There is room at the table for everyone. Burden and undone. There is room at the table
thank you again, everyone. Yes?
Just put another funny little thing in. I had twin girls 60 years ago today.
Oh, Margot said she had twin girls 60 years ago today. How wonderful. Yes. And for those of you that are here, we don't have cake today, but we have donuts. So there's more than enough to share. And for those of you at home, have a donut on us, okay? And see you next week. Remember, I love you. Bye for now.